let's start with the first chapter, Geography class 10th, that is resource and development. Fine. So you have two terms here. One is resources and the another one is development. So here in this chapter, we will be talking about sustainable development. Development. Fine. So let's start with the chapter. Now, what is the meaning of resources? Resources, everything which is available in our environment, which can satisfy our needs. So anything that satisfy our needs, not our greeds, can be termed as resources. And you have three conditions over here, and that three condition it should be technologically accessible, it should be technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable. So this one, it is about the meaning of resources. Okay, so technologically accessible means that we should have technology so that we can extract that resource. Economically feasible means that it should be economically useful. Suppose I'm extracting the resource for at the cost of 1,000 rupees. In return I should get 2,000. So that means it is economically useful. If I'm getting lower than this, then it is not economically useful. And the third one, it should culturally acceptable. It should be accepted by all. It should be accepted by all the culture. And what is a resource for me may not be resource for you. Okay, so this we can say this all 5 lines. It's about the meaning of resources. Fine. And let's understand this triangle. So human being, we interact with nature with the help of technology only. Okay, so we interact with the nature with the help of technology. Then after that, we create economic institution. So here we can understand the interdependence relation between nature, technology and institution. How it is interdependent. So if you want to interact with nature, we need technology. Suppose we want to extract minerals, of course we need technology for that. Okay, so let's move ahead. And now this paragraph, it is about this triangle only, that how you had that interactive relation between nature, technology and institution. Then you had another question, and that question it is, are resource free gift of nature? Right? Okay, so here you have this question. Think about it. What do you think about this question? Okay, are resource free gift of nature? So they are not. Why they are not? The reason is you can think about non-renewable resource. So they are limited. Okay, and adding to it, all the resource, they are function of human activities only. What is the meaning of it? Let's take the example of we can say water, sun. Then after that you have ore. Okay, so here you can see that they are function of human activity. Function of human activity means we convert this material, the material which is available in our environment, into resource, like water, from water to hydroelectricity, from sun to solar energy, from ore we extract mineral, we smelt it. So here we can say that resources, they are function of human activities, and human being, ultimately what is more important is human resource, which we learned in 9th class, that what is the importance of human resource, how they are assert for the nation. Okay, so we are essential component of resources. Without human resource, we cannot extract these resources, and this all are useless without human being. Fine. So we transform material available in an environment into resource and use them. Like we transform water into hydroelectricity, sun into solar energy, or with that we extract minerals. So this all are example that how we utilize the materials which are available in our environment. Then after that, you had third topic, and that is classification of resources on the basis of origin, on the basis of, we can say, exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, on the basis of status of development. So the question, it can be like this. So classify resources on the basis of origin. So when we classify it on the basis of origin, you have biotic and abiotic. Okay, so biotic resource means all the living things. That is biotic resource, like we, human being. Then after that, plants, animals. So they all are included in biotic resource. Abiotic resource means all the non-living things components. Like you have soil, you have land, you have rock. Okay, so you have water. They all are a biotic resource. Then after that, moving ahead on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable resource. So here, renewable resource, they renew easily, and in case of non-renewable resource, it takes time, and taking time means it takes millions of years to get renewed. Okay, and example of renewable and non-renewable resource, so you can see solar and wind energy, water, forest, wildlife. ठीक है? This is renewable resource that it can be renewed, okay, and or reproduce physical, chemical or mechanical process, and they are known as renewable resource. And further, this renewable resource, it can be classified as continuous or flow. Fine. Non-renewable resource means it takes times, and sometimes it takes millions of years to get renewed, and this further classified as recyclable and non-recyclable. Okay, and cannot be recyclable, and it get exhausted with their use. So you are on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable resources. And the question, it can be from the example also. They will give the example, then they will ask whether it is renewable or non-renewable resources. Then after that, on the basis of ownership, you can see, if you have your house, this is individual resource. Okay, then if it is about park, about community hall, about temple, mosque, church, they all are community owned resources. Okay, so individual resource, they are owned privately by individual, like you have houses, property, car, pasture land, plantation, well, pond, watering well, so they all are owned by individual. Fine. Community owned resource, they are owned by community, and it is accessible to the members of the community. Like you have burial grounds, right, park, village common may, you have grazing grounds, burial ground. Then after that, you had this village pond, public parks, picnic spots, playground, right? So they all are example of community resource. Then moving ahead, national resource. Technically, all the resource within our country, they are national resource, because as we know, right to private property, it is not our fundamental right. So technically speaking, all the resource within the nation, it belongs to the nation only. Then after that, as I said, the country, it has legal power to acquire our resources, like for public goods. So you might have seen road, canals, railway being constructed on field owned by some individual. So इससे ये पता चल रहा है acquisition of properties. They can acquire property of individual for the development purpose, right? Then after that, all the minerals, water resource, forest, wildlife, land within the political boundary. Then up to oceanic area, up to 12 nautical miles. Up to 12 nautical miles means, suppose you have this coastal line, which is 7,515.5 kilometer. So till 12 nautical miles, yeah, we can say up to 222.2 kilometer. It is known as territorial water, and it belongs to the nation. Because when we have land, we can bifurcate it, we can demarcate it. So here is the criteria for oceanic water also, that till 22.2 kilometer, it is our national resource, and whatever resource here we can found, the nation can utilize it. Okay, and international resource, which are owned by international institution, like you have UNO, the United Nations Organization. International resource, you can take the example of Antarctica. It is not owned by any individual, or it is not owned by any country. And they talk about open space, they all belongs to the international institution. Okay, and you have that exclusive economic zone, the oceanic water beyond 200 nautical miles. As I said, you have that ocean, beyond it, open ocean. Okay, no individual country can utilize this without the permission of international institution. The international resource, which are owned by international organization, like you have UNO, the United Nations Organization, Antarctica, open ocean, outer space, atmosphere. They all are example of international resource. Fine. let's move ahead on the basis of status of development. So you have potential, developed, resource, stock. So let's understand it. So potential resource means, potential means here we talk about capacity, that the resource, it has the capacity to fulfill our needs, but it is not properly utilized. Properly utilized means that 100% utilization, still it is not done. Okay? So it has enormous potential, like you have case of Rajasthan and Gujarat. You have that enormous potential capacity for the development of wind and solar energy, because here you can see also, so Rajasthan and Gujarat, so Rajasthan and Gujarat, we can see that the Tropic of Cancer, as it passed through these states, so it has enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy. So far we have not developed properly. So 100% utilization is not there in potential resource. It has capacity, but it is not fully developed. It is not fully utilized. Developed resource means 100% utilization. We are talking about quality, quantity, everything is determined. Then after that we are utilizing it properly. That is developed resource. Like you can take the example of all the mineral deposit in Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh. We are utilizing it properly. So that is developed resource. Stock means here we don't have technology, appropriate technology. So here the technology is not available. That's why we are not utilizing it. That is stock resource. Material in the environment which have potential to satisfy, but we do not have technology to access this resource. So for example, take the example of water. So water, it is a compound of two gases. One is hydrogen and oxygen. So this hydrogen, it has enormous, right? It can be used as a rich source of energy, but we don't have that technology. Hence it is classified as stock resource. Reserve, that means technologically we know how to utilize that particular resource, but we reserved it. Like you might know the word that is reserved forest. That means technically we know how to utilize that product or that material, but we are what we are doing, we are not using it because we reserved it for future requirement. Like water in the dam, then you have reserve forest. It can be used in the forest future, sorry. Okay, so that is reserve. Technically we know how to use it, but what we are doing, we are not using it. We reserved it for future use. Fine. So let's move ahead. Then after that you have development of resources. So here first it start with importance. Why? What is the importance of resource? They are vital for our survival. Okay, and to maintain the quality of life, we need resources. Then they are, as I said earlier, they are not free gift of nature. Think about non-renewable resource; they are not free gift. Okay, so and as people, uh, you had that myth as it is free gift of nature. So human being indiscriminately use this, and it led to the major problem. What are that problem? You can understand like this. You have depletion of resources, accumulation of resources in few hands. Then after that, indiscriminate use of resource, it led to environmental problem also. So this is very important, that what are the problem, that major problem you are facing. First, depletion of resource. Okay, so to satisfy the greed of few individuals. Fine. As a resource, anything which fulfill our needs, not our greed. So to satisfy the greed of few individual, what happened? It led to the depletion of resource. Fine. And the second thing, it's about, we can say, accumulation of resource in few hands, like dividing the society into haves and haves not. Okay, or we can say rich and poor. Then after that you have indiscriminate use of resource. It led to major environmental problem, and that environmental problem, you have global warming, ozone layer depletion, environmental pollution, land degradation. So they all are example that uh, uh, how this indiscriminate exploitation, it led to the global ecological crisis, increase in the water level. Fine. So they all are ecological crisis, And the reason, of course, it is due to indiscriminate exploitation of resource. So you can take the example that for high yield, what we are doing, we are using chemical fertilizer, pesticides, right, and over irrigation, and ultimately it led to environmental degradation also. So this can be regard indiscriminate exploitation of resource. Fine. So then after that you have, then ultimately we talk about sustainable development, and in this sustainable development means development should take place but not at the cost of future generation. Okay, so do remember it that for future generation it is not at the cost. We are doing development but it should not harm. It should not harm our environment also. That is sustain one. Okay, fine. Sustainable development, development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the need of future generation. Okay, and ultimately we talk about uh, all the first Earth Summit which took place in Brazil in 1992. Okay, this was the first Earth Summit in 1992, right? And it held in Rio de Janeiro. Okay, so it was the first international Earth Summit where more than 100 head of the state, like in India you have president. So more than 100 head of the states they met at Rio de Janeiro, and it was the first international Earth Summit. Here they had that goal, and that goal it is two things. One is environmental protection, and the another one is socio-economical development at global level. So here is aim. Okay, okay. Then after that, here they signed Agenda 21 also. Agenda 21, why this is named as Agenda 21? Because they had that agenda, that the accomplishment goal, whatever the accomplishment goal it is, we need to achieve it in 21st century. That's why it is named as Agenda 21. So they adopted Agenda 21 for achieving sustainable development in the 21st century. So okay, fine. Let's move ahead with Agenda 21. And here you can say that it is like a green path to the future. I'm writing it, and I'm writing it in green pen. Only green path to the future. Agenda 21. Okay, because at the global level we are talking about sustainable development. Okay, and here in Agenda 21, uh, we are focusing at the local government also, that they should, okay, they should have their own local Agenda 21. And here you have the full form. It can be asked, what is the full form of UNCED? Okay, it is signed, this declaration, Agenda 21 declaration, it is signed by the world leader at UNCED. UNCED full form, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, UNCED. Okay, so in this agenda, they said that to combat this environmental damage, to control this, to overcome this environmental damage, poverty, global disease, this can be done through global cooperation only. Okay, so global cooperation on common needs, mutual needs, and shared responsibility. Shared responsibility means if you have this climate change, okay, we should have that shared responsibility, right? We cannot blame anyone that so-called country is responsible for climate change. We cannot say like this. That is shared responsibility. Okay, so thank you. And in this second part, I will be covering this resource part. Thank you.